Welcome to FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast series. Here we talk about all things franchising. What is it all about? Is it for you? How do you find the best one to own? And so much more. Now your host, Tim Parmeter.
Hello, everyone, and thanks again for tuning in to the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. Today, we have one of our franchise partners joining us today to talk about their brand. And this is going to come from, I don't know if I should say this, but really kind of my favorite sector or industry, which is the incredibly unsexy yet highly lucrative home service space. So I'm excited to talk to them. Before we do, quick reminder who we are. FranCoach is a national search firm dedicated to individuals like yourself who are interested in owning a franchise. We're partnered with well over 600 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning over 70 industries. Our goal is to help clients find the absolute best franchise to own. And the goal of the Franchising 101 podcast is to simply help educate you on all aspects of franchise ownership. Okay, that's the stuff we got to say. Now let's get to the fun stuff. Our guest is joining us today is the Vice President of Franchise Development for our featured franchise, which is 360 Painting. Please join us welcoming Mr. Matt Reeves. Matt, thanks for joining us today.
You bet. My pleasure.
We appreciate you joining us, and I hope you're buckled up there, brother. We got a bunch of questions we're going to fire at you today. But first, and we've got lots of things about 360 Painting, a bunch of cool things to talk about. But more importantly, right now is you, brother. Tell us a little bit about how you got into this crazy thing that we're riding, which is called the world of franchising.
You bet. No, I appreciate it. And thanks again for allowing me to join. Give a little of my background. I had 4 home and commercial service businesses for 10 years in the 90s, 2000s. I was 10 years in corporate America with FedEx. Did 2 years consulting in the oil field. And then that's how I kind of got into franchising. Was my family and I've got 4 children, my wife, been married 17 years. She's from Waco. And so we had an opportunity where we were both working remote to move to Waco where she was from. And so moved down here when we had our 3rd child. And honestly, we were we joined a new church here and we were in a life group meeting and somebody mentioned, hey, there's this company, in franchising that's hiring. And so it's one of those things where, got open the door and, I'd never thought about it. Being a prior business owner, you always think franchising, it's McDonald's. Right. But, started there and man, it was a whole new world. I will say, I wish I'd have found it, franchising 30 years ago. It's amazing.
Yeah. And of all the things that we talk about to all the different people that have come on for our guests, that question for people in the industry is maybe the most enjoyable thing because there's been one person that's not had this, but you're like everybody else. It's some crazy dumb luck. Knew nothing about it. Next thing you know, plop, you're here, and then you get sucked in and you never leave, right? Because it's just
absolutely never want to.
Nope, without question. So let's talk a little bit about 360 Painting, and I want to get into all the different aspects of the business model. And I know this may be a little obvious with the name painting. But what are the services, whether obvious or maybe a couple that are a little less obvious, that 360 Painting is providing for customers?
Yeah, good question. So 360 Painting being an executive model, an owner can really dictate what services they want to offer. Now they can do just the main one that most people know it about is residential interior and exterior painting, commercial interior and exterior painting. But I'm always the mindset in my business is I like to diversify. I want as many opportunities to drive revenue with the customer, and I want as many opportunities for them to pick up the phone and call me. So owners can get into concrete sealing, concrete stamping, staining. There's pretty much if it can be a coat put on a surface, they can offer it with 360 if they want to. So they can be as focused in services they offer, or like a big one right now is epoxy floor coatings in garages. They can offer those services, and that is a very profitable and very high demand service right now. So that's another one they could offer if they wanted to.
See, and that's you just taught me something. That was one I didn't even know with you guys. And I think to kind of put that in perspective, even just on the painting, there are some businesses that do nothing but residential, right? Even as focus is interior, and you're doing interior and exterior, and some will only focus on commercial. And you've got the range of all of those things, not to mention the concrete stamping and coating. We have franchises that do only that. It's such a big thing. The garage epoxy, the same thing. So you've got basically a half dozen different revenue streams that could be so big they could be standalone for your owners. So that, like, I think, and that's why I wanted to start there, because painting, people's mind tends to go to the residential, which is huge, but all of those other things that you have as a potential revenue stream for your owners is fantastic. So very, very cool. And as I think you just mentioned this too, is that those aren't have tos. Those are they can add and grow into those, or again, they could be very hyper focused on just residential or perhaps commercial as well. Correct?
Absolutely. So a lot of it will be dictated by the skill set of their painting crews that we help them recruit, vet, and then help put out there. But it all starts on call one with a new franchisee. Every new franchisee is assigned a corporate consultant. We call them coaches, 360 painting coaches, and they're going to ask them, hey, in building your business plan, what are you wanting to accomplish with this business? So you kind of start with the end and work your way backwards. And they're going to ask, hey, do you want to offer, the primary services, or would you like to diversify? And if they want to offer other services, then we can show them the path and how to build into that and work their way, to that, to where they can offer multiple services if they want.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. I wanted to take a quick break from our podcast to tell you about our amazing friends at Entrepreneur. If you're looking to become a franchisee or simply learn more about business ownership, and guys, let's be honest, you're listening to the Franchising 101 podcast, so we know you have some interest in this. And I really encourage you to go to entrepreneur.com to check out all of their great content and resources. Seriously, Entrepreneur has everything, all the way from a bookstore to the best podcasts, webinars, and videos, plus information on upcoming events and the latest articles that seriously, they cover all aspects of franchising and business ownership. If you're having trouble deciding which franchise is right for you, start with Entrepreneur's renowned Franchise 500 ranking, which highlights the best franchises of 2022. For 45 years and counting now, Entrepreneur has been and continues to be the most widely recognized and respected authority in the franchise market. Digital and print subscriptions are available, so you never miss out on anything. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Go to entrepreneur.com right now and learn more. Let's talk a little bit about that owner, right? So I think you mentioned the franchising misconception that everybody goes to, McDonald's, right? Franchise equals McDonald's or Taco Bell or whatever, right? I think the other one is the owner needs to have like all this vast experience doing whatever it is. They need to be the doer. 360 painting owners aren't like running the brush or the roller all day long, right? And really not ever. So talk a little bit about kind of what that owner, some of the things you look for and what that owner might be doing day in, day out.
Yeah, good question. So we're looking for owners that have the business acumen, that can come in, follow a proven model, establish the business, and pretty quickly scale it to 7 figures plus. But someone in that owner executive model, not somebody that's on the ladder on the truck every day. And when people ask, what type of owner are you looking for? It's really somebody that is coachable, someone that's teachable, someone that can follow a game plan, quite frankly. I mean, just to give you an example, our rookie of the year last year was an E2 visa candidate from another country who had never thought about painting, never picked up a paintbrush, but just came in and said, hey, here I am. Tell me what I need to do. I'm a sponge, and went out there, and he and his wife did phenomenal. So whether an owner is wanting to come in and be active in the day-to-day and do the things an owner would be doing to run a business, or if they want to be semi-absentee, keep that 9 to 5. A lot of our owners coming on right now are owners that have great corporate America jobs, or they're in the military. We're helping them go out, recruit, and find the key people or key person initially to establish the business, run the day-to-day, and allow them to, keep that 9 to 5 and just diversify their portfolio with a business.
And that's something that from a home service franchise model isn't super common, that you guys are like completely okay, comfortable with, have the systems in place for somebody to be that semi-absentee owner. And kind of give everybody a little, when we've touched on it in podcasts in the past, but that semi-absentee owner was always the fancy way of saying part-time, right? I guess we're franchising, we have to make things complicated instead of simple, right? So they've kept their job, they're owning the business. What's their kind of time commitment? What might be an example of a thing or two they might do during that time to really make sure their business is operating properly?
So what the typical day will look like, and the way we structured is this. I like to say or call it bookending the day. So they get up in the morning, they look at our CRM. Basically, it'll have a dashboard, like a live dashboard. It'll show them booked appointments for the day, what they've got going on for the day for their key person, and also like previous day cash collected and what they've done. Kind of gives a snapshot of the business. So get up in the morning, you take a look at that, maybe check some emails, and then you go to work. Well, while they're out there at their job or whatever the career or whatever they're doing during the day, they have a key support person that is the 360 coach that's going to be assigned to the business. So if they're a key person, let's say an estimator, that's primarily who the one person is to start. And that estimator, by the way, is somebody that meets with customers, does estimates, pops in, checks in jobs, see how they're going on the progress, and then does final walkthroughs, collects payment, et cetera. But that estimator has a key person that's part of the franchise, that corporate consultant, the 360 coach, if they need anything. Then at the end of the day, maybe on their way home, if they're commuting, they call their coach, the 360 coach, for a debrief. They call their estimator for a debrief. So they're really bookending the day, if that makes sense. And then on Saturday mornings, maybe they are doing admin work. They are, recruiting, since we're always talking about always be recruiting, and really doing things of that nature, really just tidying up the business. And so that's what the typical day will look like.
Nice. And again, I want to get into more of the support mechanisms that 360 has, but you just hit on a couple of them, right? So again, just the fact that you've got a dedicated coach that's there to help you, whether you're semi-absentee or you're full-time in the business, is not every franchise has that. So that's a key component in addition. You talked about that kind of that estimator person. If somebody was full-time jumping straight into this, I'm guessing that's a lot of what they would be doing. They would be the one coming to my house, maybe giving me that estimate, talking through, checking on the crews, or would you still maybe hire that person right off the bat?
It's a good question. It really depends on what the owner wants to do. We have some people that come in that are going to be full-time in the business, and they say, hey, I want to be out there talking to customers every day. I want to be out there building those relationships. And so they will fill that role, because all you need is one person really to get you from day one to about $500,000 in revenue. And it's that estimator role. So a lot of owners will come in that are active in the business and fill that role. Some owners we've had that are like, hey, I'm not really a people person. I don't really want to go out there and be in that role daily. That's okay. We will help them find that key estimator to put in that role. And that's what I love about our model is we build it to the owner and not just, hey, here's cookie cutter. It's got to be this way. And then on the support piece, having that coach is huge. That 360 coach is part of the franchise there as a support role, whether they're active or semi-absentee.
Gotcha. So then that's all fantastic. But then at some point we need something painted, right? So how right. Are we let's talk about the painters. We know it's not the owner out there all day long painting. Are they employees, contractors? How do we go about finding them? And again, kind of more on that support structure.
Absolutely. So we've got a very close partnership with Sherwin-Williams. And, it's one of those things where even during our exploration process, I set up a meet and greet with a person there local in their local community. So they get to see it firsthand. So what happens is through that close partnership with Sherwin-Williams, and these key people we put them together with, we introduce them to in their local community. Sherwin-Williams will basically be the primary lead source for their painting crews. So we will help them build that list of crews and then vet those crews, background check, license check, insurance check. And then how they want to designate those crews is up to them. We have some owners that just love the 1099 subcontractor model. I love it. It's simple. It's easy. Either way, they're going to be branded in uniform when they show up to the customer's home or office. But or they could have them as W-2. If they want to have the painters and the crews. And when I say painting crews, they're primarily dealing with the crew foreman. Every crew has a foreman. But if they want to have them as W-2, they absolutely can. We'll walk them through. And then we have some owners that have kind of a hybrid mix where their primary crews are W-2 and then the overflow are subs. So we really let the owner dictate that. But yeah, that partnership with Sherwin-Williams is a key one. And the great thing about it is they're personally recommended. So they know that they know how to paint, they do excellent work, and not just, going blind into, I hope they know how to paint kind of thing.
Right. And it shows up, it's me and my 9-year-old, and it's not going to go well. So, to get started, right. And you mentioned somebody full-time really could be just them, and then plus the painting crews, whether that's 1099, W-2, hybrid, whatever. What else do we need? Like this, can we start from home? Do we need an office? Is there like this big equipment package we need to have? What does that look like?
It's another thing I love about the 360 painting model is, and this just comes, I used to have a painting company years ago. And what I love about it is the low overhead to start. You're looking about roughly 100,000-ish all in. And I say ish at the end just because it depends on how you do the run out on the investment. But the way we keep that investment level so low compared to many other franchise opportunities is, number one, start from home. You do not need brick and mortar for this. Number two, all you need is one key person, whether that's you or an estimator. And you don't even need a vehicle. I mean, if you want to work out a deal where your estimator uses their own vehicle and you pay mileage or fuel, and they put some really nice 360 painting magnets on their car, you can do that. Supplies, you're not housing paint or ladders or anything like that. Basically, when an order is done, when an estimator takes the iPad Pro or the Surface tablet, does the estimate with the customer right there on the estimating software. When the job is booked, once it's the day of the project to start, it sends the paint needed to the local Sherwin-Williams store or Benjamin Moore if they choose Benjamin Moore or PPG paints. And so it's really on demand. They're not storing paint. So it's very minimal overhead to start. And that's what I love about it. That's what allows it to be quick to profitability, fast to break even.
And then easy to scale, right? So we can start with a single territory, right? We can have multiple, right? So when you're talking about, basically a home office, and again, everything else is kind of per the job from that standpoint, right? We don't have a big office, big warehouse,
That's right.
All of those things. So super cool. We've talked a lot about the support, and I know like we've just got like surface level things, but I think one of them else that's key is, again, if it's kind of starting with one key person plus your painters, and we've got all the different marketing things in place to create the inbound leads, whether somebody's clicked something, but if they just pick up the phone and call, there's another key element of the support structure with 360 painting for those inbound calls as well, correct?
Absolutely. So we've got a corporate call center. It's corporate owned in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So all their calls will be routed to our corporate call center, and our corporate employees at the call center will. And by the way, we're looking to go more regional now. We're hiring agents across the country because we want the calls ultimately to be answered by someone regionally. And so they take all the calls, they schedule all the appointments for the estimators. They do outbound calling because some lead sources are time sensitive, like an Angie's List or Home Advisor, where it goes to us and 3 other competitors or 4. Well, it gets routed to our call center, and our call center agents reach out to those ASAP. So call center is a big part of what we do, and it's a huge lift. As somebody that's had a service company in the past, I can't tell you how many times I would be with a customer for 45 minutes to an hour, get back out to my truck, and then I've got 4 or 5 missed calls. Well, most customers, they keep calling until somebody answers. And I love the fact that we've got the call center there.
Yeah. And I think the part of the beauty of home service from a franchise standpoint is that the bar is so low for customer service from, Billy Bob and his beat up pickup truck that maybe he's going to answer, maybe he's got a voicemail, maybe he's going to call you back. This is, I'm guessing you've got times probably frequently where your owners, there's stuff just booked on their calendar or jobs booked on their calendar, and like it just poof, it's on there due to the marketing, the inbound drive from the traffic, and then that call center, correct?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny, but it's so true. 80% of getting that job many times is just showing up on time when you say you're going to, and that's what I love about this industry is when you look at the painting industry, it's one where it's got a little bit of insulation from economic climates because, with interest rates rising, it cools off the market of people that are selling and upgrading their homes. And so they're like, well, we're sitting on this cash. Let's do something around the house. Well, that always involves painting. Well, on the commercial side, these retailers have to get people in the door. And so they're like, what are we going to do to get people to come in and spend money? Well, we're going to refresh. We're going to reimage, which always involves paint. So you've got that built-in insulation there. But, it's one where just answering the phone in a service business will get you so many jobs.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the way we're very heavy technology. And as the owner, the estimator, whoever's in that estimator role is driving down the road, the call center is just booking appointments. And that's key. Just having somebody to answer the phone is going to get so many jobs, so many appointments, which leads to so many jobs.
Yeah, it is just absolutely crazy with that. So, this is all super, super cool stuff, Matt. And I appreciate your kind of walking us through this. And I know you're busy, so I want to be respectful of your time. What else maybe would you want us to know about 360 painting that we haven't talked about yet?
What I would say is this is really a people business. Sometimes I get on a first phone call with a client and they're like, well, I'm not passionate about paint. What I tell folks is don't think you have to be. Paint is just a vehicle. This is really a people business at its core. And when you look at it from that perspective, you can see how, you look at our Top Gun franchisees and how they've got the most varied backgrounds. None of it had to do with paint. So that's number one. Number two, the fact that 360 Painting is one of 10 brands. And what we teach owners is there's many ways to grow your business. You can grow your 360 laterally by territory 2, 3, 4 and grow out, or grow upward. I mean, this is how I grew my business years ago was, the hardest part in a service business is getting your foot in the door with the customer. Once you've got that foot in the door, you build that relationship, you do a great job the first time, they will call you back and ask for referrals and recommendations. And with our other 9 brands, it gives the owner of 360 Painting a way to grow vertical, meaning they can bolt on our garage door franchise, our junk removal franchise, or any of our others. And then if they do that, they're a multi-solution provider driving multiple lines of revenue with that customer and really maximizing that relationship. And that's what I love.
Yeah, you can truly build an empire with this from multiple different ways. So, and as crazy as that sounds, sometimes some of the happiest franchise owners are the ones that they've got one territory and maybe it looks a little smaller on the surface, but they're hitting all of their goals. And they're like, the key thing for you as a franchisor is you want happy franchise owners, right? So again, you've got the whole control factor of your controlling your life, your lifestyle, and what that turns into from a franchise standpoint.
That's a key part right there, is because, we're a franchisor where we will help them build their business to their goals. I've got some that they've got, they want to hit a certain dollar amount. They've set it. They don't want to go higher than that. They want to take a vacation every quarter for 2 weeks or a week or two every quarter. And they don't take a job under a certain dollar amount. And they're like, hey, this is my little sweet spot. I'm going to do this until I retire, and we'll let them do that. It's all about their goals.
Yep. And I love how you've talked about that repeatedly, right? We're going to really kind of tailor it, customize it to you as that franchise owner. So
absolutely
super cool, man. I really appreciate you coming on today to talk to us about 360 painting. And you alluded to some other of the brands within the premium service brand umbrella. We got to get you back to maybe talk to us about a few other ones as well. But we're excited to have you today, man. I appreciate it. So, well, cool.
I appreciate you having me come on, Tim.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And as always, to all of our loyal podcast listeners, we hope this helps provide insight to all the amazing possibilities you can achieve as a franchise owner. Find us online, FranCoach.net, franchising101podcast.net. Reach out today, set up that first call. You know you're interested. You just spent 30 minutes listening to us today. Let's see, maybe it's 360 painting that's perfect fit, or maybe there's something else out there. We're here to help you. So reach out today. Everybody else, thank you so much. And we look forward to talking with you soon. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast, where our ultimate goal is to help educate you on all things franchising so you can create your better tomorrow.